Hello, whisperers. Welcome to the channel. If you enjoy tonight's tale, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It helps more than you know. Now, dim the lights, and let's begin tonight's story. Rain hissed against the glass like static, and the bar smelled of wet coats and cheap whiskey. It was our last night off before the next rotation, so we were pretending to be normal again. No uniforms, no rifles, just 5 men drinking like tomorrow didn't exist. The phones went off first, all of them. Same tone, same message in red. Biohazard incident. Shelter in place until 6 a.m. Someone laughed. Yeah, right. The bartender frowned. That's 12 hours from now. Then a car hit something outside. A scream followed, sharp and short. The front window cracked. A man stumbled in, drenched, blood up to his elbows. He wasn't yelling, just panting like he'd run miles underwater. When he saw us, his face twitched, eyes glassy, teeth bared. "Doc," I said. Morales stepped forward automatically, medic instincts kicking in. "Sir, hold still." He slammed into Doc, teeth finding skin through the sleeve. Reed yanked him back, but the guy spun fast, caught Reed's arm and bit down. Flesh tore. I grabbed the nearest thing, a bar stool leg, and drove it into the side of the man's head. Once, twice. The third blow cracked skull. He fell twitching and stayed that way. Blood slicked the floor. Reed wrapped his arm tight with his belt. Morales stared at the bite, pale. Outside, sirens tangled with thunder. Through the window, I saw shadows running wrong. Too fast, no coordination. Someone screamed, and it didn't stop. The TV above the bar stuttered to a shaky phone clip. People biting each other in a grocery store. Then static. "Lock it up," I said. Kingston shoved tables against the door. Glass shattered near the bathrooms. A shape crawled out, half a face missing, jaw hanging by tendon. It made a wet, choking sound. Sloan froze. He was still just a kid compared to the rest of us. "Move," I barked. Reed drove a pool cue through its neck. It kept grabbing for him, so I stomped the back of its skull until it stopped moving. The sound was thick, like dropping a watermelon. We pushed through the kitchen, kicked the back door open, and stepped into the alley. Rain washed blood into the drains. The air tasted metallic. At the corner, a police cruiser sat halfway on the curb. The lights were still flashing. One cop was slumped over the wheel. The other leaned against the glass, throat torn open. Even from here, I could hear the wet sucking sound. Sloan whispered, "Jesus Christ." "Eyes up," I said. They came at us in a pack, 7, maybe 8. Civilians, office clothes, grocery aprons, one still holding a broken umbrella. They weren't running so much as launching, every step a stumble with weight behind it. Kingston grabbed a trash can lid and smashed the first in the face. Bones split under the rim. Reed caught another with a length of rebar, stabbing through an eye and out the back of the skull. Morales drove a screwdriver into one's temple and twisted until it dropped. The rain muted the gunfire sound of their heads hitting pavement. A big one, construction worker, hard hat still on, charged me. I sidestepped, grabbed his collar, and slammed his head into a telephone pole. Once wasn't enough. The second hit folded his neck sideways with a crack that made my stomach roll. He slid down, leaving a smear. Sloan swung a baseball bat he'd pulled from somewhere. Missed, swung again, caught a woman in the cheek, half her face coming off with it. He froze, staring. She didn't. I grabbed his shoulder and shoved him back as she lunged. The bat came down again, flat against her skull, until there was no skull left to swing at. "Save it for the next one," I said, pulling him away. We reached the gun shop, Patriot Arms, gate down, lights dead. Reed jammed the rebar into the latch, twisted, and the lock gave. Kingston heaved the gate up halfway. We crawled under while the street filled behind us with the slap of bare feet on wet asphalt. A hand shot through the bars after me. Morales brought the bat down, snapping the wrist clean. The rest of the body hit the metal and stayed there, teeth clicking like a wind-up toy. Inside smelled like oil and dust. Reed found a flashlight, swept the beam over glass cases full of promise. He didn't hesitate, smashed one open, grabbed a shotgun, racked it, and tossed another to me. The sound was church bells. The door outside buckled. Bodies were stacking against it. We loaded shells fast, hands shaking but sure. "Cole," Morales said, voice trembling. "They're breaking through." "Then let's thin the herd." The door burst. The first one fell through and I fired point blank. The blast took half its head off, spraying the wall. Kingston followed up, dropping two more in quick succession, pellets tearing chests open. Reed moved like he was back in the sandbox. Short bursts, headshots only. The smell turned thick with smoke and rot. Morales emptied his pistol into one's mouth until it dropped, then stabbed another in the eye with a cleaning rod. When the last body stopped twitching, the floor was a shallow pool of blood and brass. Reed reloaded, breathing heavy. "You think we can make it till 6 a.m.? "Only if we keep killing," I said. Outside, the city screamed. Inside, we started counting the hours. The rain hadn't let up by the time we stepped back outside. It just fell harder, washing the blood off our boots, but not the smell. The air felt thick, heavy with smoke, and that copper taste of open wounds. Somewhere distant, a gas station was burning bright enough to turn the clouds orange. We moved in a wedge through the street, slow and deliberate, weapons up. We'd each grab what we could: ARS, shotguns, pistols, a few mags, nothing fancy. No radios, no comms. Just us and the storm. The city sounded sick, sirens fading out one by one, gunshots farther away now, and under it all, that new sound, a wet, hungry chorus. We weren't the only ones hunting. "Checkpoints north," I said, "edge of downtown. We make it there. Maybe we catch a ride out." "Assuming the world's not already gone," Reed muttered. We cut through a parking lot littered with bodies that looked more like stains than people. A man in a delivery van tried to wave us down, or maybe he wasn't waving. He slammed his hand against the glass over and over, mouth opening and closing. Then something pulled him back into the shadows behind the seat. The van started shaking. "Keep moving," I said. Morales glanced over his shoulder but didn't argue. We crossed through a narrow street where the storefronts leaned over the road like they were listening. A pharmacy, a pawn shop, a pizza joint with the sign still flickering. The smell of yeast and blood mixed together in a way I'll never forget. Movement second floor, Kingston said. He aimed up. A curtain twitched. Just a kid, pale face, eyes wide, maybe 10 years old. Before we could shout, someone yanked him backward. We heard the scream, high and short, then wet chewing. Sloan looked like he was going to run for it. I grabbed his collar. "Don't," I said. "You'll just die louder." He nodded, eyes glassy. We kept going. When we hit Main, the lights from the burning gas station reflected off the rain like sparks. Dozens of silhouettes moved between the cars, crawling, dragging, sprinting. They were everywhere, under the awnings, behind the fences, inside the wrecked buses. Every noise we made pulled more. Reed knelt beside a dead cop and stripped 2 magazines from his belt. "He won't need 'em," he said. The first one spotted us. A woman in a blood-soaked nurse's uniform, bare feet slapping the pavement. She came fast. Reed dropped her with a 3-round burst. Half her skull went out the back, but she kept running a few steps before she fell. The sound brought the rest. "Contact left," Kingston shouted. They came out of the shadows like the whole block exhaled. 20, maybe 30 of them. Some fast, some limping, all with that same impossible noise. Lungs bubbling, teeth clicking. We opened up. My shotgun boomed and the blast tore through 2 at once, their insides spraying across a storefront window. Reed switched to controlled bursts, heads popping under the muzzle flash. Kingston's pump gun barked in rhythm beside me. Each shot made a wet, hollow thud as another body hit the pavement. They didn't stop. One sprinted straight at me. A teenage boy, maybe 16, no shirt, skin gray, ribs showing. I barely got the barrel up before he hit. The shot took his lower jaw off, but he kept pushing, blood pouring down his chest. I jammed the barrel into his throat and fired again. This time, he folded backward like paper. Sloan froze up again, aiming high and missing. I shoved him down as a man in a business suit dove over the hood of a car and grabbed him. The thing's mouth clamped onto Sloan's shoulder, tearing cloth and skin. He screamed, and I fired once, the shot shredding both of them. Sloan didn't stand after that. Morales checked him, shaking his head. "He's gone." "Then move," I said. "We can't stay here." We ran. The street narrowed near the overpass, and the sound of the infected behind us turned into a wave. Hundreds now, maybe more. We ducked into a mechanic's garage, slammed the shutter down, and took a second to breathe. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped the gun. "Ammo check," I said. Kingston had half a box left. Morales was nearly dry. Reed had 1 mag. We were running out of everything. "Hey," Morales said quietly, looking through a side window. "They're piling up out there." And they were. Dozens slamming into the doors, pressing until the glass bowed inward. The whole building shuddered like it was alive. Kingston looked at the rows of cars inside the garage, then back at me. "We could blow it, take a few hundred with us." "Not yet," I said. "We're getting out." He nodded, but I saw the look. That resigned calm that means someone's already chosen their ending. Reed found a service truck with the keys still in. Diesel, full tank. He kicked the ignition and it coughed to life. The horde outside reacted instantly, the pounding turning to an earthquake of fists. "Gate's gonna break," Morales said. "Good," I said. "Open it." He stared at me. "You're insane." "Probably. Get in." Kingston hit the switch. The gate rolled up. Rain poured in. So did they. Reed slammed the truck into gear. The first row of infected got caught under the bumper, bones snapping like branches. Tires spun on blood. The truck lurched forward, smashing through the crowd. Bodies flew off the hood. One clung to the mirror until I leaned out the window and blew its head off, point blank. "Don't stop!" I yelled. We tore through the intersection, leaving a streak of red in the headlights. The smell of rot filled the cab. Something hit the roof. A man, or what was left of one. His arm punched through the side window, clawing at Morales. Morales grabbed the limb, jammed a knife into it, and cut until the hand dropped away. We hit another car, skidded, right at ourselves. Reed gunned it. The engine screamed. When we reached the bridge, the city behind us was just fire and movement. The infected didn't chase us far. Too many flames, too much noise. But I knew they'd keep coming. Reed slowed near the barricade of crashed vehicles, marking the military perimeter. The checkpoint was gone. Trucks overturned, sandbags scattered, soldiers half-eaten where they'd fallen. Kingston climbed out first, shotgun up. No one made it. "Maybe they pulled back," Morales said. "Maybe," I said, but I didn't believe it. We scavenged what we could. Ammo, rations, a radio that still hissed with static. A voice cut through for a second. A woman screaming orders. All containment units, negative evac, fire cleansing at dawn. Then nothing. "Fire cleansing?" Morales asked. "Airstrike," I said. "They're gonna wipe it." Reed sat on a sandbag, loading shells with shaking hands. "Then we've got maybe 6 hours. Kingston looked at the skyline, black smoke curling where the city used to be. "Then we make those 6 hours count." The wind shifted, carrying the moan of the horde climbing the hill toward us. Hundreds, maybe thousands. I racked my shotgun again, felt the click echo through my bones. "Form a line," I said. "We hold till morning." The first shapes broke through the firelight. Their eyes caught the glow, mouths open, moving like one body with 1,000 hungers. We raised our guns and opened fire. The first light of morning was just a smear of gray through the rain. Smoke covered most of the sky anyway. The bridge trembled beneath our boots as the dead poured up the slope, shoulder to shoulder, crawling over each other for a taste of sound or heat. Kingston stood beside me, shotgun low, face streaked with soot. "They're not stopping." "They won't," I said. "Not until we fall." Morales was pale, sweat beading on his forehead, the bite on his arm pulsing black. Reed's bandage looked worse. He'd stopped talking an hour ago, just loaded and fired in rhythm. 6 a.m., Kingston said quietly, checking his watch like it mattered. "We made it." Not yet. The horde hit the first line of wrecked vehicles and kept climbing. Tires popped under the weight, flames licking up the metal. Every muzzle flash lit wet faces, every shot another skull turning to mist. Reed dropped 3 in a row, tight bursts, clean as training. Then one slipped through and bit into his thigh. He screamed once before Morales put a round through its head. Reed went down, still firing, rounds punching holes through the legs of everything near him until they dragged him under. We heard the crunch before the gun fell silent. "Reload," I shouted. Morales jammed a fresh mag in and winced. Blood soaked through his sleeve again. His fingers trembled on the trigger. I'm hit bad, Cole. I know. Just stay with me. Try to keep it together. He fired anyway. 1, 2, 3. Each shot slower, sloppier. Then a body hit him from the side, teeth sinking into his neck. Kingston and I both fired, turning the thing into red vapor, but Morales was already gone. His eyes stayed open. He didn't breathe. Kingston spat, wiped his face with a shaking hand. That's it. No more heroes. Copy that, I said, and we fell into the work. We held the bridge until the barrels glowed. Shells clinked around our boots. When the crowd pressed too close, Kingston lit a grenade and tossed it under the nearest truck. The blast lifted bodies in sheets, arms, legs, scraps of uniforms flying like burnt flags. The concussion nearly knocked us both over, but the fire bought space. More came anyway, always more. Truck's still good? I asked. Barely. Then we use it. We sprinted back across the bridge, zombies clawing the railings on either side. Kingston climbed into the driver's seat, gunned the engine, and looked at me. You ready? Always. He floored it. The pickup slammed into the mass at the bridge's crest, the front bumper vanishing in a wave of meat. The tires screamed, blood spraying in ribbons across the windshield. Every few seconds, we'd feel a solid bump, the body count catching up with us. The horde broke around us, screaming in that inhuman, bubbling pitch. I leaned out the passenger window, firing into faces close enough to feel the heat of the rounds. Every shot blew more crimson rain across the glass. By the time the bridge cleared, the truck was slick red, engine smoking. We skidded sideways, stopping just before the barrier that overlooked the river. The entire city was burning on the far side, napalm arcs dropping through the clouds, fire crawling block to block. They started the cleanse, Kingston said. We're in the zone. Then we get out of it. We ditched the truck and ran for the slope leading down to the water. Behind us, the infected followed in chunks, half-bodies dragging themselves through the ash. I turned, fired 3 shells into the mass, watched them tumble back into the flames. Kingston slipped on the mud, caught himself, laughed once. You realize we just outlived the unit. Not for long if you stop moving. At the riverbank, we found a patrol boat half wedged in the shallows. I jumped in first, pulled Kingston after me. We shoved off with our rifles, the current grabbing fast. The fire on the bridge reflected in the water like a second sun. As we drifted, the city above roared under the bombing run, columns of fire swallowing streets, bridges, everything. The sound hit a second later, a long, low roll that rattled my ribs. Kingston leaned back, breathing hard. 12 hours, he said. I looked at the horizon. Black smoke, red sky. Nothing else moving. The last explosion lit the clouds behind us, blinding everything for one bright, violent heartbeat.